Hello? Is it working now? Hi. Testing, 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 testing. Hello? No, that's my old one. Oh, that's so sad. I had to stop it, so now it's a new stream. Okay. Okay, now it's a new stream. I'm hoping people can hear me, and I hope people can find me. Somebody's watching me. Are you watching me? The sound cut out. You can't find me?
Can't find your new live stream. Does it say that you're live? Does it say that you're live?
So it says I'm live. I've been live for a minute. I hope people can hear me. I'm not going to continue unless we get the sound again. Testing, testing.
I can't find your live stream. So
I'll find it. I'm going to find my live stream. Let's see. Okay, if anybody's out there, can you hear me? Oh, you can hear me. Oh, great. Wonderful. You found me again. That's wonderful. Okay, I think it's because my AirPods went out. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so we're in pigeon. Is everybody in pigeon? Sleeping swan, right leg comes over. We lift our chest away from the hips and settle down on in. Okay, my friends who've been in pigeon this whole time. Wow. We'll go 3 more minutes in pigeon. All right. Sorry about the technical difficulties. That's part of live streaming. Thank you for being with me, and I hope others were able to find me again. I had to actually create a new video because I had to refresh the page, and it just automatically stops my stream. I'll see if I can edit them together. Okay, again, my friends who want extra sensation can walk the left hand long and use the right hand to just kind of gently nudge the left hip down. So yes, the right hand is actually by gently just kind of pressing into the ground, kind of repress this left hip down as well. We're looking for sensation around the outer glute. We link our hips to emotions because that's where a lot of that's our biggest joint, and that's where our flight and fight instinct kicks in, right? It sends the adrenaline so that our legs get ready to either run away or make a stand. And so in our modern society, how we tend to kind of have a lot of stress. We kind of keep this low grade crisis going on in our bodies so that we have this like constant drip of adrenaline coursing through our bloodstream, tensing up our muscles. And a lot of that gets locked into the hips. And so even in a yang practice like hatha or vinyasa, we tend to hang out here in this pose. Try to kind of like massage that open, release some of that, and learn to settle into our emotions and let them process, let them release, let them off gas. Last exhale here. Last round of breath. Let's walk into our hands. Let's help this leg over the bolster. Come to our tabletop. And again, stop for a moment, feel the release. Kind of feel out what your body wants to do with this. You want to bend and straighten the right leg? Do you want to bend and straighten the left leg? You want to sway the hips? You want a cat-cow? Just test them all out and find what works for you. And we're going to get set up on the other side. All right, let's bring this left leg over. Okay, my friends who are going to go into pigeon without the bolster, I trust that you know what you're doing, so I'm not going to talk that one through. So those of us who are using the bolster, let's make sure our hips are square, are leveled out using the bolster. So the left hip's going to come quite easily into the bolster, but then we want to kind of sink this right hip in. We can curl the heel close to the bolster, or we can bring the shin parallel to the top of the mat, whatever allows the hips to stay level. And then we're going to lower down. Maybe we take a block. Maybe we rest on our hands. Once we find a place we can settle into, we're going to breathe through the shape. Breathe into our roots. Breathe all around the sensation that's going on in the left hip. Maybe there might be other places too, but we're looking for sensation in the outer, in the glutes, all around the bum here. Melting the chest toward the ground. My friends who want to activate a little more can reach long with the right hand. Use the left hand to kind of just nudge the right hip down toward the, anchor it more toward the bolster. Just a nudge, not a fight, just a nudge. And breathe. Sink into your roots. So first the physical ones, wherever you're touching the bolster or the support or the floor. Get heavy into those roots. Locate what your roots are. And then just let the swirl, the watery swirl, bubble and ripple around that idea. What are the emotions that arise when you think about standing strong in your roots? No matter what shape or expression of the emotions, just witness them all. Let them off gas. Test their weight. Notice what the breath does with the various ripples and waves. And then try to even the breath out. And just like with a pose that starts to get a little too intense, and if the breath starts getting sticky around any of these ideas, just readjust. So readjust physically, on a mental level, emotional level, just readjust by shifting focus back to the breath. And if this ever gets too much for anybody, pigeon could get a little bit too much. There's also the option of rolling onto your back and doing pigeon that way. So don't feel like you're just going to sit this one out, because this one is not allowing you to go in. I probably should have showed you this one last time. So another pigeon looks like this. Again, targeting that outer hip. Okay, we've crossed the halfway mark. Check in through the body again. Check your feet, check your jaw, check your brow. Let them soften and release. Finish this round of breath with a big sigh. Draw the navel in. Start to walk the hands back. Let's help this foot over the heel of the bolster. And let's come into our tabletop to just kind of check in. How does the body want to release that left hip? Maybe you start with just kind of lengthening that leg out, bending it in. Maybe you make some circles in the hip socket. Maybe you sway the hips from side to side. Bend and straighten the other leg. Circle. And then let's come to our Sukhasana for a moment. Settle into the hips. Feel the sensations that we've awoken in them for the last couple of poses. And as you're ready, we're going to need our stack again because we are going to do another forward fold, but this time instead of over butterfly legs, we're going to do it over dragonfly legs. So again, we want to get the chest ahead of the hips in whatever way possible. So if that means we are hugging our bolster, hugging our pillow, and hanging out just like this, we're getting some sensation in the inner thighs and the hips, and this is where we're going to stay. And that's a beautiful place to be. Okay. Otherwise, we can get creative with our various blankets and blocks. So some of you will be all the way down to the floor with your chest, and that's fine. Let's soften through the feet. Now, normally in a yang practice, we're like flexing the feet, toes to the sky. Now, if the toes kind of droop inward, that's fine. That's fine. We just want to bring the chest ahead of the hips. Okay. So some of us might be using if you want to deepen the pose, you can bring your hands onto your bolster or blocks and melt the heart into the ground. Once you find your place, breathe and settle. Explore the pose. Make sure that you can maintain your 10-second breath cycle. And if it gets sticky, then you're going to pull out. Anytime you need adjustment, bring yourself to a place that you can come back into your breath. And then follow your breath into the sensations of your hips, of your legs, of your back. Melt everything. Find your connection to the ground, to your bolsters. Release into gravity with each exhale. And go explore with each inhale. Each inhale, little tendrils moving down into the places of sensation to your hips. If you're starting to feel some like crunchiness behind the knees, like little dish towels or something, just to give a little bend into the knees can increase comfort. A little blanket rolled up under there, just to keep from, because sometimes being against the ground is actually hyperextending the knees. So just check in with that, see if that's true for you. Really check in with what you're feeling right now, not just physically, how your emotions respond to the sensations of being in this pose, how your feelings respond to the suggestion of dipping into your roots. Last minute in the pose. Check and see if there's any adjustments you need to make, if the intensity is a little too much now, that you want to rise up a bit, or if there's an invitation to slide deeper. No expectations, again, just exploration. Explore the emotions around the 3 gates we were talking about earlier. Whether there's resistance or acceptance, or it may be some anxiety about, oh, that's hard to do. Just notice everything that rises is beautiful and wonderful and worthy of acknowledgement. We don't have to get swept up in the whirlpool of them. Take a nice big inhale and sigh it out. Engage the core, walk the hands in. As we come up, let's lean into our hands. Bring the feet forward, bounce the knees a bit. Where are we? Oh, we're moving into our final hour. Okay, let's do one more little bit of water in our hips. We're moving to the ground though, so it's kind of a transition into earth. So after this little frog sequence, we will move into earth, and we'll take a break. We'll take a break after the frog sequence. Okay, we are going to move onto our tummies. Let's go ahead and pick up once we get there, we're going to pick up our feet and sway the feet from side to side. And we haven't done a full release of the hips because we're still in them. Oh, I'm gonna tilt my camera a little bit. I think things got a little out of whack here when the sound went funky. Oh my goodness, we actually have snow. It's starting to stick. Okay, once we're on the ground, we're going to hike this right leg out to the side. Okay, 90-degree angle. Start at a 90-degree angle, and then what I want you to do is sink push the knee away from you so you can sink that right hip as close to the ground as you can. And now soften through the bum. The bum's going to want to tense up. Soften the thighs. Breathe into the mat. Okay, if it feels good, you can look away from the knee. Rest the right cheek on the mat. I'm not going to do any more standing up poses. I'm going to take my hair down now. Get soft. Anytime you make an adjustment, check in with the upper thighs because it tends to tense up. They tend to tense up whenever we adjust because on our bellies, we are in a bit of an extension of the spine. And whenever that happens, these muscles want to, oh, I got to support a back bend. So they tend to clench up. Keep sinking the inner right hip in toward the ground. Okay, you have an option to stay just as you are. Or if you like, you can add a sphinx to this. So what a sphinx is just the elbows under the shoulders. So we're extending the spine a little bit more than just being on the ground. So if the elbows come under the shoulders, great. If not, they can stay a little bit further afield, but we still want to keep the hip pressing into the ground. And we still want to soften through the thighs. Really fill the ground with your breath. Every inhale, just really press in with your inhales. Feel it start to spread the back body, the back ribs, the back waist, the sacrum. Our last minute in the pose. So my friends in Sphinx, if you want to straighten the arms to get a little more of a back bend, make sure we're softening through the lower body though. Okay, any of my friends who are up in Sphinx or Seal, let's go ahead and lower down. So everybody's down on the ground again with the half frog. And now we're going to straighten the leg. Okay, if it's comfortable, we're going to start to move the leg closer to the head. At each step, again, we want to try to keep the hip low. So scoot, 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 push the hip low. Scoot, 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 keep the hip low. And when we come to the extent of that, we're going to rest into this pose. Okay. Once you find the shape, soften through the thighs, soften through the toes, relax the chest and the shoulders. Press the belly in with every inhale. Really stretching the diaphragm with every inhale. Notice where you feel the rise through the back, and then also notice how it releases on the exhale. Every little breath cycle is like a whole year. We inhale through fall. We have a pause at winter. We exhale into spring like a big sigh. And we hold empty in summer. So that's why yin is all about turning inward. Like we draw that breath in, and winter is that pause at the top of the breath, where everything's held within, everything's potential, everything's a seed. And so that means every exhale is a chance for a new beginning. It doesn't have to be New Year's Day. It doesn't have to be the start of spring. It doesn't have to be a new moon. It could be this breath right here. We are surrounded by so many pulses. Of course, all those things, all those other things are useful symbols. And if we can harness the energy of those symbols to our advantage, then we should absolutely do that. Because symbols do have power. Okay, about 30 seconds left in the pose. If there's space to scoot that right foot closer to the body, closer to the head, then go ahead and do so. And soften around it again. Just see if there's, again, invitation. See if there's an invitation. Not if you can like struggle your way into it, but if there is space to move into, then go ahead and go there. Melt your heart into the ground. Last round of breath. Sigh it all out. We're going to let that leg slide gently, slowly, easily back down. Once we get there, let's rest our forehead on our backs of our hands and sway the hips. And we're not going to release entirely because we have the other side to do. So we're going to hike the left leg out to 90 degrees. So I'm going to scooch a little bit. Once you get it at 90 degrees, sink the hip toward the ground. Okay? Soften the bum, soften the thighs. Melt the full chest into the ground. Again, whatever emotions bubble and swirl to the surface, just acknowledge them with a nice, smooth breath. And maybe even practice your 3 gates with whatever emotion arises. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? So not just the emotion itself, but your reaction to that emotion. Because emotions cycle through the body in about 90 seconds. Physically, they sweep through in 90 seconds. It's when our thoughts latch onto them that it keeps reigniting them, re-swirling them. Okay, my friends who want to add their Sphinx can go ahead and do so. Elbows underneath the shoulders. Once we do so, let's soften through the hips again. Press the left knee away so we can get the left hip closer to the ground. Soften that right leg. Belly presses into the mat to massage the back bend. That's right. So when the thoughts hold on to something, that's when that's when the emotions stick. So if we can just, when an emotion arises, if we can just watch it, if we can process it as it is, we can check the facts on it. We can, so check the truth of it, check the necessity of it, and check the kindness of it, and then let it go. Acknowledge where it is, where it came from. Let it pass through the body, and invite it to move on. That doesn't mean pushing away our feelings, because that's not processing. It's really giving yourself the space to say, okay, here, what is this? What do we got here? Kind of like open the petals, let the petals open for us so that we can take stock. And so that we're not running headlong into the waves, but that we're making patient and wise decisions. And we can make patient and wise decisions on our emotions. Our emotions are, don't we discard our emotions at all. But we have our emotions. We are not our emotions. We are the root of us is not our emotions. Our emotions come in and influence, and then we get to decide what we do about it. We don't just get pushed into action. We move into action. Okay, my friends who want to, for this last minute, grow long and just push up into seal, please do so. Whatever adjustment you make, please soften again through the bum. Make sure the tongue is soft and the jaw is soft. And on our exhale, let's slowly lower down. And settle all the way to the ground. Take a breath here. And let's go ahead and straighten that leg. I'll just switch around here. We're going to straighten the leg first. This may be where we stop, or we're going to go sneak with that foot. Maybe as it gets closer, we can take a hold of it, bring it further, settle the hip, bring it closer, and soften. Particularly that right thigh, because it probably tensed up to kind of anchor while we were pulling the left leg long. So I'm just going to soften through there. Try to settle both sides of the chest into the earth. Maybe test out hanging out with some of your emotions. Just like not judging them, not wishing for a better one. And just take in the experience of having this particular emotion. And see if you can find some kind of appreciation for it. Breathe all around and through it. Notice its presence. Notice how it manifests in your body. Does it have a heat? Does it have a ripple? Does it have a tension or a tightening? Does it have an opening or a softness? Does it have a source? Where did this emotion bubble up from? Last round of breath. Side out. Bring that leg back around. Settle our forehead on backs of the hands. Take a big belly breath. Side out. Sway the hips. Gently sway the heels. Pick up the feet. If you like, sway. As you're ready, let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Press on up. Walk the knees in. And we'll separate the knees. And we'll settle into a little, just for a couple breaths, a little wide-kneed child's pose. You have your head turned to one side, turn it the other side. And let's start to come on up. Bring the feet, bring the legs around. Take a moment. Rest the hands on the thighs, palms face up. That feels good. Explore the whole sensation around this area, because that's kind of where the emotions arise from, symbolically. And that's what we've been stimulating in this last hour. Okay, we'll take a little break, 3 minutes. And give it till 1:54, 3 minutes, 1:54, and we'll work on earth. Earth is mostly going to be on our backs, mostly. So go ahead and get a drink, go to the bathroom. We're going to be going a little bit over 2:30 because we had that interruption in the middle, not by much, about 5 minutes at least. Our Shavasana is not going to be particularly long because the whole yin practice tends to be very Shavasana-esque, connecting with who you are, connecting with your practice. And yin gives us the opportunity to connect with each shape, but we will do a Shavasana at the end. Anybody has any questions? I'll actually start reading what's up here. Thank you so much for chiming in. That the sound came back. Beautiful. Happy Winter Solstice. Yeah, we had a little sound problem. Oh, there's heavy snow in Victoria, on the island. So I foresee that I'll have to be doing a little bit of editing once I get this the live stream up, but I'm going to save that for later. But yeah, I'll try to do some cutting and pasting and putting the chapters, like here's fire, here's air, fire, water, earth. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a lovely solstice. So nice to be able to kind of check in, because as humans, we are like, whoa, we have so much to do right now. There's so many holidays. There's so many things to get ready for the new year, that everything's out here. But the rhythm of the year asks us to come in. And so that's the whole point of this marathon, is so that we do give ourselves the opportunity and the chance to, okay, all the trees are going into their roots. It's time for us to go into our roots. And from there, we can be strong through the turbulence of winter. We have the energy to grow when spring is available to us. Okay, how are we doing? 1 more minute. See, do I have to go to the bathroom? I think I'm okay. I'm a bit of a camel. Actually, yeah, I am going to go to the bathroom because I really want to settle into my earth here. So I'm going to take these out. There's going to be a little break, intermission, while I sit back.